There are times in life where we're about to receive bad news, really bad news. So what happens is when we know that this is about to happen, our brains have a fight or flight response. That response can cause some people to start sweating profusely, your throat to tighten. It can cause you to feel tensed up. It can cause you to feel like you're going to fall apart. Everybody feels different. Heat flashes, warm ears, whatever it is that you feel when you're about to make a very hard decision or hear very difficult news. If everybody could just take that feeling and think about that and know that somebody who suffers from depression or anxiety feels that every day. A psychologist is trained through their education to help alleviate those symptoms and to help people that have that problem. They also can help those problems by promoting many of God's values. So for listening through this, I want everybody to know that while you may not suffer from any issues, seeing a psychologist is not only something for people who are going through hardship. It can be just if you want to improve your life. You can also apply it to people in your life or somebody you might meet along the way. So as for my credentials, my name is Laurel Dangro. I'm a student at Liberty University. I'm a psychology major and spend a lot of time researching psychology. So that would be my credentials for you guys. The purpose of this would be to show how a psychologist can promote most, if not all, of God's values. Some of the most important ones being God's value of love and compassion for others, including in marriage and in family. Also, God's value of self-control, humility, and human life. Also, God's value of the attempt to help others in their efforts to promote the things God values according to Scripture. So, you guys will get to learn a little bit of all of this. Now that we've given you a brief overview, we'll go a little bit more in depth. How a psychologist can help promote God's value of love and compassion, including in marriage and in families. Abraham Maslow created Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Basically, you have to complete the lower end of the scale to move up. Love and belonging lays right there in the middle. So a psychologist will try and promote your sense of love and belonging, whether it's through family, relationships, people you meet along the way, or even with God. Also, a book written called The 5 Love Languages promotes that we are all different, and we all have different love languages that speak to us. We all have different needs that need to be met and ways to fulfill those needs. A psychologist will remind you that everybody has different needs. Another way that love and compassion can be promoted is through help with child rearing. Oftentimes, there are challenges presented with raising a child, disappointments and difficulty and heartache. A psychologist can help mend those things through prayer, guided discussion, and many other ways. Moving on to something that's a little bit more internal would be God's value of self-control, humility, and human life. There's a method called the HEAL method for forgiveness. The H is for hope of a positive outcome. The E is for the education of what will likely happen. The A is the affirmation that regardless the experience will be a learning experience. The L is for the long-term commitment needed in order to forgive someone. Empathy and anger management are also things that a psychologist can help with that go kind of hand in hand. They basically teach you to take that response that comes right up, right in the heat of things, to pocket that and to act in a more godlike way. So now that we've talked about some specifics, we'll move on to a more broad topic. God's value of the attempt to help others in their efforts to promote the things God values according to Scripture. While that might be complicated, it basically means that a psychologist would help you promote God's values in the world and in your life. The 10 Commandments are something that whether a psychologist is a Christian or religious psychologist or not, will promote, as these are things that are very healthy in life. Also, we also have times in life where we have to choose a path, where we're not sure which direction to go. When we're talking to a psychologist, they're able to differentiate for us which voice might be God's voice and which voice might be the latter and be Satan's voice. So a psychologist also embodies a lot of the characteristics that God would embody when speaking with us. When it comes to mental disorders and diseases, there are more than we have time to name. But a psychologist is trained to deal with each and every one of them. They're trained to help family members of those who are suffering from mental illness and also to help those who are suffering themselves. As said by Elder Jeffrey R. Holland of the Quorum of 12 Apostles, if things continue to be debilitating, seek the advice of reputable people with certified training, professional skills, and good values. Be honest with them about your history and your struggles. Prayerfully and responsibly consider the counsel they give and the solutions they prescribe. If you had appendicitis, God would expect you to seek a priesthood blessing and get the best medical care available. So too with emotional disorders. Our Father in heaven expects us to use all of the marvelous gifts that He has provided in this glorious dispensation. So a psychologist ultimately has the ability to promote all of God's values: love and compassion, self-control, humility, human life, and the overall promotion of His values in the world. One overarching quality and value that a psychologist promotes at all times is peace. Peace in one's life, peace in one's home, and one's family. So, as Roy E. Disney once said, it's not hard to make decisions once you know what your values are. Thank you.